Hey everyone, we're back and ready to do more work on Damon Claw. And with me as always is Corey. Say hi, Corey.
Hey, how's it going?
And before we get into doing some new stuff, I wanted to recap some stuff I did while not recording a bit earlier today. And one of the first things I did was just go into all of the layouts, including the loading screen and the splash, and set it up so that that overlay, if you recall, this game is being made to match the specs of classic Amiga computers graphically. So Corey made this beautiful Amiga themed overlay, and there's also the buttons that show button presses. And once I put a little more code in, if you start controlling with a control pad, it'll switch to match buttons from one of the better known Amiga control pads, and you'll be able to completely make them invisible as well. They're also responsive to touch, so if you're on a tablet or something with a touch screen, not that it would be... Go ahead, Corey.
I think we had also talked about there may even be the potential of if you get the game and it's not on a touch device or something, you may even be able to just make that border black if you
to. Sure.
Or, you know, like hide any of that stuff you want.
Yep.
Eventually, I think we'll have those options in all of our games that we make with Construct. So.
Yeah, exactly. So we just wanted to get this everywhere where it belongs, and if you recall from previous videos, we really have done no work visually on any of the other screens other than the loading screen, which just has the nice logo. There we go. So especially the splash screen and the intro cinematics scenes, including how to play and game over and all that kind of stuff, we just wanted to start to get it looking more like it's part of the game, and the first step was just going here where this is where the actual layer is in the project, the touch overlay, because this is the first ever layout we worked on for the gameplay with the game. So we've got this layer called touch overlay, and I just switched it to global. There we go. So global, yes, and then all I did was go into each layout and added a layer and name that layer exactly the same touch layout, and it immediately became also global and yes overridden, meaning whatever we do.
So as long as you name it that same name as a global, it will just take the global one. Okay.
Exactly. And any changes we make here, like if I do this and then I go and I run the splash screen now, it'll be the splash screen also with that button way up there for no good reason, even though there you go. Even though
yeah, well, some players might want it up there, you know.
That is true. There we go. Okay. So yeah, and after that, I also, if you recall, there was that weird bug where when we got to the two bird sub-bosses we had set up that stops the screen from scrolling until you defeat them both. Mm-hmm. We had this weird issue where if you defeated them both simultaneously with the same attack, I have this variable set up in the little thing that stops the scrolling. So, this is it here. I stretched it out. I forgot. So we have this little thing called stop scroller, and you could see locked equals 2. Mm-hmm. So since we have two enemies going that are supposed to each be killed to turn the scrolling back on, when either of them dies, it subtracts 1 from locked. So theoretically, once you kill them both, locked becomes 0, and then I have code that says, okay, now turn the scrolling back on. So yeah, anyway, the bug was you kill them both simultaneously, and apparently it only subtracted 1 from the locked variable, so then you were just stuck there forever. Which I'm surprised that could happen. But anyway, the way around it was... Yeah, so Birdman sub-boss, and you'll see here, let's see, subtract 1 from locked. This whole event here used to be a sub-event directly under the thing that made the Birdman recover from sliding back after getting hit. That way he'll slide back, and if his hit points are 0, he'll blow up. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's a good point. I broke that in that case. I'm going to need to add one more thing here because it's not a sub-event anymore. So now they'll just immediately blow up instead of slide back from the impact of your attack and then blow up. So eventually I'll fix that too, but that's less of a big deal. The important thing is I isolated it and I added for each. So system for each Birdman. And that's forcing the code to make sure every loop of the code, every chance the game has to kill a Birdman and subtract 1 from that variable, this forces it to do it one at a time, if that makes sense.
Right.
Because it's for each Birdman. So, like, I'm amazed that can happen at all, even without the for each, but this seemed to solve it. So I might as well really quickly test that with you watching too, and we'll just see if I can recreate the bug. So I had tested this a few times, but I just want to see if I was mistaken and see if you can still get stuck. So I'm just going to try once again to beat them both simultaneously.
If you could get the powers first, like that would. But it's like you aren't quite able to do that.
Yeah, there's one.
Ah, there you go. Yeah.
But the trick really is, I'm just doing a terrible job at it. Right there. There. Okay. And
yep. It works.
There was a weird teleport, so there's still an issue with the scroll system once you unlock it. But that definitely would have gotten me stuck before, and it didn't. So that's what I wanted to test. So,
nice.
Very nice. Okay. So now that we've proven that is fixed, we're going to get on to the real thing we want to get done today. And that is make it so when you get all the way to the end of the level, of level 1, the character will finally, you'll lose control of the character will continue walking off screen, and then the layout, no, boy, I'm using all the wrong words. The level will fade out, and then it'll fade into the actual boss fight arena. Not that we have the boss ready yet, but just getting that functionality where you can actually go from the end of one level to the beginning of another, that's the goal for today. All right, we're back after a very quick break so Corey and I could strategize just what methods we want to use for this end of level sequence. And we discussed 3 potential ways to deal with the situation of enemies potentially having followed you to the end of the level. And of course, we don't want the enemy to be able to hit you while you're stuck. You have no control of your hero and he's just walking off screen, even though it's a short period of time. A lot of levels in this game have very fast moving enemies that could have followed you there. So we had to figure out a way to deal with that. And the 3 options we could think of was the Mario-like way, which doesn't make a lot of sense in this world where the enemies would just automatically blow up and you'd get bonus points for each enemy that happened to get blown up when you reach the end of the level. And then the other possibility was, what was the second possibility, Corey?
I think just pausing the world. And,
that's what we ended up going with. That's what we're going to do. Oh, the other one was just making the player invulnerable to any potential attack. So even if like Falcon did swoop down at you, it just wouldn't have an effect. And then the third option, which Corey just mentioned, is you just pause all enemies on screen for that brief moment that he then goes off the screen. And we decided we like that one best. Among other reasons, it's going to be just really tidy and easy to work universally across all levels without accidentally forgetting to turn off the player's ability to get hit from specific types of attacks and stuff like that. We'll just pause all the rest of the game except for the player, let him go off screen and just fade out. So that's what we're going to shoot for behavior-wise. All right, so let's just dive in. What we're going to need to do first is we're going to use a new sprite. So I'm just going to create something, and then to not waste memory, we're going to make this something nice and small. We'll make it 16 by 16 pixel. And we just need something to represent the end of the level, so I'm going to pick an arbitrary color, and then we'll just put an arrow on it. So this will be the end of the level. Alright, and then we will name this level end box. And then, so what we can do is just anywhere we need to put it for the exit of a level, just do that. And that way we can make it as big as we need it to be, whatever feels right after the fact. And so now, the other thing we can do is add an instance variable. And we're going to give it a text instance variable, and it's going to be called next level.
Nice.
Okay, and then so this particular one, I can just click on this and grab the exact name. So we know this is the end of level 1 going into the, oops, let's see, click that right here. Level 1 boss. So now that that's there, so that way obviously we just paste this into other levels. For example, can do this ahead of time. We'll put this at the end of level 2. Of course I could zoom out to do this quicker. Make sure I'm in the FG layer, paste that in, and then of course that one, I'll just do it for these two for now, since we're focusing on that. Ooh, nice. Level 2 boss. Let's see here. Rename. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I'm a little discombobulated today from a lack of sleep. Yeah, oh, we're just changing this value, and level 1 boss becomes level 2 boss. Okay. Nice, easy to remember naming convention. So now we are ready to go into, this should work universally. So we're going to go into gameplay events, and I'll just create a new group to stay a little bit organized. I really need to eventually organize the rest of the code too, but we're going to add a group called end of level. All right. And so now we're going to start with something nice and easy, which is just going to say player box is overlapping another object, and that would be level end box. There we go. Done. And then we'll make sure that's in that group. So here's where we're going to actually need to do stuff, including initiating the screen fade either immediately or when after he goes off the edge of the screen, and then pausing and all that other stuff. So let's start with the easy stuff, which is going to be to pause the rest of the game, which is to set time scale to 0. And then we're going to set object time scale. I think that's in here, set object time scale. And we need the, what is he called? Hero? I'm pretty sure. The player spriter object. Yes, he's called Hero. Yeah. Oh, I need to choose it here. Like I said. There we go. Okay. So set that, and then we're going to do the same thing. Set object time scale. And it's the player box. I don't remember what we called it. A player box. Okay. And all right, so that's good. And then we're going to start ignoring control for the player. Yeah, here it is. Set ignoring input. Okay, yeah. Start ignoring. All right, that's good. And then we are also going to, yeah, we don't want to make him stuck and move or anything like that, because we need his animations to play based on what he is. Because imagine you've reached the end of the level, but you are getting hit or you are in midair jumping. We can't have him suddenly switch to the walking animation or not switch animations appropriately once he lands, and he should continue going off screen. So that's a good point. I'm going to go back to this, and I'm going to add another instance variable, and we're going to call that exiting, and it'll start at 0, but we're going to make it 1 when, okay, so level 1, oh, gameplay events, okay. And so now what we can do is we can, it's called level end, yeah. For set value, exiting to 1, and then
we have to play a sound effect of him going, all right, as he finishes.
Add another condition, level, and compare instance variable, exiting equals 0. So now it can only happen once, and we're pausing everything. We're unpausing the player's animation, spriter object, and his box that actually is what controls his platform movement. We're ignoring player input, and we are setting exit to 1. And now we can add a new event above that says if level end box, compare instance value exiting equals 1. Now what we can do is set the player box simulate control right.
Nice.
Get rid of that. Exiting equals 1, simulate pressing to the right. Okay, so I mean we can already test this. Another way we can speed up testing is we can go all the way to the beginning. Let's see if it's going to zoom.
Do infinite life or...
Yeah, that too, but first I'm going to lock those other layers and hide them so they don't get in the way. And then I'm just going to grab him, and we might as well grab the camera too. And we're just going to move him way close to the edge, very close to the end of the level. And that way it won't be a long walk to the ending sequence. This should work, so let's test it. Famous last words in game development. This should work.
No, whoa, he's not in the right spot.
Maybe it's because of that stop scroller? Oh yeah, because it says if, maybe that's the cause.
Maybe we've got a designated spot where he spawns.
It's not that he spawns. I think we have an event that says if the player is beyond a certain point, or if this, you know what I mean? Like if his X touches the X is the same as the X or greater than the X of this scroll stopper. I think that's what's doing it.
Why would that move him so far back? Like, you know.
Well, it moved him right to this spot. I'm pretty sure. And see, these birds were here, so they attacked him. Like, I guess that one. At least that's my theory. There's an easy way to test, and that is to... I'm going to copy that, and we'll just put it in the spriter layout for now. Don't let me forget where I put that. I need it again. All right, let's see here. Back to level 1. So let's see if that fixed it. Doesn't look like it did it? It's the same.
Yeah,
but now there's no bosses. All right, let's figure this out. All right, so we paused for a second to figure out what was going on, and I just looked in gameplay events, and Corey had the good idea to search for the player box. So I just typed in box in the events, and almost right away I noticed these events here. And the whole point of those events is to keep it so that the player himself cannot walk off the edge of the visible active screen. Remember, we can't just say, is the player at the extreme left edge of the real screen or the right? Because we've got a sort of simulated screen, which is smaller than the whole screen, because the whole screen has the Amiga-styled frame around it. So that's what this is doing. It's roughly, there's 54 pixels of frame art on either side. So we're saying if the player is starting to go outside the boundaries of those frames, this caps it. So what's happening is at the very beginning of the level, I put the player box way, way over there, which is way outside the bounds of this. So he's being instantaneously teleported back to the beginning of the level, because that's, even though the layer with the frame is off screen, I mean, it is not a scrolling layer. That's still the coordinates of the beginning of the level. And so, yeah, so the player's getting teleported immediately. So what I'm thinking of doing, and we were going to need, that's the nice thing, is we were going to need to have to edit these events anyway in order to let the player walk off the edge of the screen at the end of the level. Right? Because this would stop him. He would just be stuck there. He'd be playing his walk animation, rubbing against the Amiga-styled frame. We're going to fix that. So what we're going to do is add a global value, and let's see, this is going to be called intro or exit, and its default value will be 1, which means that it is the intro, and then we'll bring it to 0, and then we'll bring it to 2, I guess, something like that. We'll go with this for now. So now that we have that, we're going to check. So I'm going to type in box again so we can get to those events quickly. And then we're going to take these two things and we're going to make them sub-events. So we're going to add, we'll just add new event above, and it's going to check that variable.
Intro or exit, yeah.
Right, so intro or exit was right on top of it too. So equals 0. So it's not in the intro sequence or the exit. And then we can just do this. So now it's not going to get teleported.
Right.
Because intro or exit starts at 1. And then so now what we're going to do is, for now, we're just going to say, we'll add this to the end of level stuff. It's a fairly logical place. It's going to be insert new above. And we're just going to say compare time. And this is for the layout itself, I'm pretty sure. Compare the current time of, I think it's of the layout. It really should say, that's unfortunate. Like, because it could be of since you started running the game or something.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure it's for the layout, so hopefully. So is greater than 1 second. And let's see here. We're going to give it a cap. Oh, this will work. I'll replace this. And we're going to say, oh, actually, it's right here. Exiting equals 1. Oh no, we don't want exiting, we want intro and exit, which is that global value. So yes, it will replace condition and compare variable, and it's intro or exit, and is 1. So once it's past 1 second, if intro or exit is still 1, we're going to change intro or exit set value. Intro or exit to 0. And eventually we're going to replace this with, has the player reached a certain horizontal position of the screen? Because at the beginning of the level, he's going to do the opposite. He's going to be walking in from the left off screen, and then you'll gain control and all that stuff.
With it set up like this, once he's been in the level for a second, would the player be able to just walk off the left at that point? Or is it something we need to prevent still?
Yeah, well, what's going to happen, as soon as we activate the player's ability to control him, then that value, we're going to set that value intro or exit to 0, as we did here. And when intro or exit is 0, that's when you get locked out from being able to walk off the edges of the screen.
And then we're going to set it back to 1 when he hits one of those edge boxes or whatever. Okay, cool. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
All right. So that should have fixed our little issue with our time saver, what should have been a time saver. Let's see it now. We should be able to start right near the end of the level. Okay, excellent.
Nice. Oh, the sub-bosses.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was going to say. That's because I did put that back in the level, by the way, everyone. That's why that happened.
Oh, right.
The thing that stops scrolling and spawns the bosses, I had put that back when we paused it to figure out the actual cause, once we knew that was not the cause. But anyway, we reached the end of the level. That was the important thing. So now we can...
Well, did you? I mean, you kind of...
Oh, but I mean, we fixed the issue where we were getting teleported back. So that's the important thing. So now what I need to do is go into gameplay events and go back to this. So now we can expand on this a little more too. So we can say when you're overlapping, exiting equals 0. Now we want to set that value, that global value that I just created. We're going to set value to of inner exit. Let's make it 2. It's still not 0, but now we have a numerical distinction between entering a level and exiting, just in case that's ever useful.
Right.
All right, and yeah, I can think of a reason it could be useful right now. Okay, so now once again, you're going to be able to walk off the screen, so now this can take full effect. So let's see if this is working. Kill him, kill him, kill him, uppercut everybody, drop kick. There we go. I'm trying to save face after that. Embarrassing. All right. Wow, there's so many enemies.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, I just want to get to the end of the screen. That's what I need to do. There's... Let's try that again. Oh, I forgot to give myself more lives, but that's okay. All right. Take that. I can also cheat and give myself a lot of magical... look at that. All right, I'm going to cheat.
Yeah,
I'm going to cheat.
Have to at least make yourself invulnerable or something.
Let's see if that works. Now I should be unstoppable. Famous last words. All right. And did it work? Do I have... Oh, no, I didn't have magical
you're
power.
Still ticking. taking damage.
Interesting.
I think we had tried that before and it didn't. Yeah. I don't know. I think there's something special we have to do. We should have just built in an automatic invincibility variable or something.
Yeah. Let me think.
From the get-go.
Oh, you know what? This is less ideal, but let's see how many...
Yeah, you could get rid of a lot of those guys and move them out of the way, or
Especially this guy who's right on the edge for some reason. Don't want that. Clear out the end, and we'll just... There we go. We'll just outrun them. We'll be chased to the edge, chased off the edge of the screen. Oh, and that'll be good to test. Is everybody getting paused? All right. That's why we did it. We're just being goofy. We're just being funny for your entertainment, everyone.
Oh, you still got a face.
Oh, yeah, and I could also delete that thing again, the boss thing. That'll save us a lot of time, too. Nope, bug.
Well,
let's see if I can unbug it. Nope. Okay, yeah, that's a bug we knew about,
Is
too.
Is it because you touched the box, though? Yeah, are you at the edge?
I don't think so.
No, because it didn't freeze time. No, everybody
let me think here.
Bashing.
Oh, yeah, so let me delete this boss spawner, because that definitely is not helping my situation. Right. So let's put that back for a different reason now. Second time we're putting it. All right, let's see. Let's go back to level 1.
Huh, you were really killing it on Black Belt. Now you're...
Yeah, now I'm embarrassed. It's the end of the level, so... Oh, that's right. I need to drag it out further because it did pause the game, but it also paused me for some reason. Okay. And I can still turn around. Actually, that makes sense, but... The fact that he's not walking and like that, I don't understand yet, but we'll figure it out.
Oh, all right. Yeah, you can do lots.
Yeah, let's see what's going on. Yeah, that's a problem because...
Yeah, aren't you like circumventing the platform controls or something like that with a lot of his regular movements?
Sort of, because we have triggers for special moves. So, well, that's the thing. That's stuck in move would automatically turn all that stuff off. But then we would need code to make sure he could still walk and continue falling if he's in the air and stuff like that. So I'm trying to see if there is... And unfortunately, I think it's all under the same thing, which is just called... Yeah, let's see where we put... Yeah, so right here, it's in the same group right now. So what I could have done is make the things that control basic animations that are reactive to the platform, like is in the air, is falling, on jump. I could have had that all separate so that it would still work even when you... Like there could be a group that you could deactivate that would be player input.
Right.
But it's not going to be that simple for me now because I would have to really reorganize a lot of these events. Let me see. So we paused it to try to figure things out, and we haven't figured out the cause of the problem yet. But I did realize that in my fatigue and sloppiness, I basically just created 2 values that serve the same purpose and can be handled with just 1 value. So instead of confusing ourselves with this value exiting and this value intro or exit, we're just going to keep using intro or exit for everything because that value is 0 if it's not exiting or doing the intro, and it's 1 during the intro and 2 if it's not during the intro. So that keeps track of every possible scenario. So that's what we need. So I'm going to just go through the code that we just created and get rid of exiting. So in the case here, exiting equals 0. We're going to replace that. Copy and replace. And this is going to be 2 because we make it 2 there. And we're going to remove this because that's not necessary anymore. This keeps track of if you're exiting or not. And then intro exiting equals 1.
And then I guess you would just remove the condition there for the exiting at the...
Yes,
right
we don't need that at all. But it should be, actually, it should be this, and it should be 0.
Right.
I'm glad you spotted that. Okay, so that's 0. So now, is there any other thing where we set exiting? Nope, it looks not. So now we can go in just to stay organized. Go to level 1. Find that sprite. Instance variables, and we're just going to... Good timing, autosave. There you go. I was afraid it was about to crash. So delete exiting. Yes. Okay. So that keeps things tidier,
Mm-hmm.
and we might as well. I mean, there's no reason why that should fix anything. It just
Right.
made it easier for us to debug and figure out what the real cause of the problem is. But just for
Mm-hmm.
the heck of it, I'm going to play the level and see if it still behaves exactly the way it did before. Yep, it paused, and yep, so it's behaving as before, so at least it's working as it was before, but now we have one less variable to get ourselves confused with.
Right, right.
So that's a good thing. So now let's figure out what the rest of the problem is. All right, we figured out a little bit more. So I got myself confused because I was using another authoring tool for another game in between now and the last time we worked on Damon Claw here. And the two authoring systems handle things differently. So when I turned on start ignoring platform user input, that was just, I thought, a very foolproof way to say, hey, when the player actually inputs some controls, don't let them do anything. But the problem with that is apparently the simulated input counts. So all we did was replace simulate holding to the right up here with set the vector x, which is the actual horizontal movement speed, directly to a value, and that worked fine. So now if we take that, and we tried 50 and it was way too slow, so we'll try something like 200 that might be way too fast. But just to show you that works, go ahead, Corey.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't mind if his walk off is a little bit
fast.
slower than
Oh,
his
slower.
normal walk.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say faster, but either way, yeah. Well, that felt pretty much the same. That was a good guess. It didn't
'Cause
seem
my-
to speed
my
up
only-
much. Yep. go
My
ahead.
only issue is if it's very similar to the player walking, they might get confused and like, you know what I mean? Like
Well-
there's nothing else indicating other than just the edge of the world that it's, you know, there's something going on, like a.
Well, it depends.
Maybe.
We might decide to start the fade out while the walk is happening. That could
Mhm.
very well be the case. Or there could be, and it would never be this huge. Like I stretched out this box so that it was on the screen more than it should be.
Right.
So that's one
Well,
thing. So
and
let's
two,
make those decisions.
And there's audio cues we could do
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
whether music change or, you know, something that
So
might indicate.
that's going to be smaller, and we still did not solve that greater issue where you can still do the super moves. So, I mean, worst case scenario, what I can do, ideally, live and learn what I would have done when I was creating, if I had anticipated this. The most optimized way would be, like I said, to have a specific group that is dedicated only to the moves you can do that
Right.
require input, and then actually make it so you're turning off that group when you need to so that the player can't do anything in those moments. And let's see here. That might still be the best solution, because the other solution is to find all of those events and add another condition to make sure in or out is 0. So
Right. I think the universal switch of being able to turn all that input off like in
Right.
an instant is the best thing, because we might need that in various spots
For
in
other
the
stuff.
game. Yeah.
All right, so let's go through. Let's start to find. So all of it should be under player animation. So I'm just going to. Oh yeah, that's not working because of the search thing. Okay. Player animation. All right, add group. Player controls. And oh boy, I put it all the way at the bottom. Yes,
Nice.
it did. That's kind of silly. CX. And I want it right up here. Okay, so I'm going to open this, and we're going to look for anything that specifically checks for input. So this is walking left or right,
Mm-hmm.
which is checking for left or right input. So we're just going to put that right in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to do, let's see, punch left or right, simulate pressing left or right.
Oh yeah, you're actually using the simulate
The variable, yeah.
to actually control them. Yeah, so I guess that, yeah, that's interesting.
All right, so just throw that in there. And next is we just keep looking for ones that are specifically on input. So left to right. So this says make the player turn around to face the new direction if he's not playing the hit animation. So that's another one. I have to make sure these are not sub-events of something. Yeah, this looks good. All right. I'll put this one up at the top. Okay. Anything else?
Set X to player button. I don't think so. Power level stuff.
There's definitely something for him to throw a punch when the attack button. Oh, I think it's B1 and B2. Yep. Okay, here it is. Oh, and that's tricky. Stuck in move is 0. All right, this just handles. This is the main thing we need to make sure it doesn't. That's why we're separating it out. Because we want the player to still do jumping and falling and walking while he's at the edge of the screen and being made to continue moving off the edge of the screen. So these two, though, these are handling attack and jump with the player input. And then this is air bash. We definitely don't want him to be able to air bash.
Right.
All right. So let's move that all up. And now we're going to need to do some pretty big testing to make sure we didn't just break everything. And then the other concern, I have to be really careful. You see that little black line there? I need to make sure I don't accidentally make any of these things a sub-event of the other thing when it's not supposed to be.
Right.
And I may have already done that somewhere, so I need to be really careful. Let me look here.
Yeah, I think
right
that
here, I think I did.
there, right.
All right. Yeah, that's really dangerous. Luckily, I don't think the overall order of these things is a problem. So
No.
That's why I'm dragging them to the top each time, because that's the safest way to make sure you're not accidentally making a sub-event of something else. So let's see how much of the game I broke. So instead of going right to the edge of the screen, I'm going to actually fight people, try to do some moves. Birdmen are people too, hashtag. All right, so I can still attack, I can still uppercut, I can, let's see if I can air bash, drop kick. Yeah, it's all working. Everything I've tested so far.
Oh, but it threw you back.
After I died, that kind of makes sense. I think what I'm doing at the start of the level is recording the X and Y. Oh no, that wouldn't make sense. Yeah, why is that happening? Like maybe I'm using something as a respawning point that I don't even remember anymore.
Yeah.
But anyway, might as well just use this as an opportunity to test again to make sure every move is accounted for and still works, that we didn't break it. So,
right.
All right. Looks like we're good. And I'm almost at the end again, so we'll just keep going. And I'm super powerful, other than the fact that I can still die from taking damage.
I do like, though, that no matter how powerful you get, you still feel quite vulnerable in the game.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a nice, adds a little bit of frantic nature to it.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't want it to become a cakewalk just because you gained a level of attack power.
Right.
You know what I mean? All right. And we still have not fixed the collision box for uppercuts. I've got this big giant flaming uppercut. Oh, that worked that time. It didn't work. Interesting. We'll have to check on that. Boom. I can still turn, but otherwise. Oh yeah, that's why. That makes perfect sense. Like we isolated it. Probably. Oh yeah. There's nothing. Right.
He's walking off the cliff. That's funny.
All right. So, but we're getting close now. So here's what we need to do. One, we need to make sure I'm going into gameplay events because that's where this stuff takes place. And two, now that we have that stuff isolated, now is when we turn that off. So right here, when we do all this stuff, when we trigger that whole sequence, this is where we need to turn off that group.
Right.
So somewhere in here, there is that ability. Set group active. Player controls, and we want.
I think you had controls at the Z, maybe. No.
So now let's test this again.
All right.
Yes, I can't turn. He walks off the edge. Of course, he's going to fall.
Perfect.
There we go.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. But the enemies are pausing. He has no control anymore. He goes off the edge of the screen. This is exactly what we want. So now all we have to do is we can have another event. We can even make it a sub-event to this one. Let's do that. So add a sub-event. And in here, we're going to check for the player box's X coordinate. So player box, compare X, and we're going to say is greater or equal. And then we're going to use, I just did that for now, so I'm going to go back up and I'm going to look for the formula we use here.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is the right edge of the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Cancel. So, and then clear that. Go back down to the bottom. And then right here, we're going to do that. But then we're going to say, instead of minus 54, we're going to do something like 24. So he's not all the way off the actual screen, but he's definitely gone off of the visible area of the screen minus, he's hiding behind the Amiga overlay.
Yep.
That's the idea. So once he is, that's when we're going to initiate the fade out and then go into the new level. So that's interesting. We didn't create any of that functionality yet to end a level. Oh, actually we did sort of, because when you die, I'm pretty sure it does fade. Let me search the word fade here and see what we're doing. On die, set where to game over. Beautiful. Okay, this is fantastic. Set fade to 1. This is exactly what we need. So that's 162. Remember 162.
Okay.
It sounds like some kind of old war slogan. Remember 162. Let's see, 162.
Remember the events of that day.
All right, so that's going to be in here under die. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, that's why I wanted to do it without the search, just to make sure I was seeing all the code. Yeah, so this is perfect. This is what we need. So we're just going to copy that over. All right, and then right here, where to game over, set fade 1. Okay, so obviously we don't want this to be game over, but we do want this to be the level end. Remember how we made that text string?
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of the code is just going to work, which is going to be an amazing thing. Famous last words. Next level. Bam! All right, let's say famous last sound effect. All right.
Right.
Oh, am I on the spriter level or something? I can't remember what level I selected last.
Oh,
no, good. Okay. Da, I'm stuck. And fade out? No fade out. And he still fell to his death. So, why not? Set where to, set fade. Oh, set where to. No, that's good. It's missing something. This is funny. You see how we set the time scale to 0?
Oh, that's keeping the...
We have to do it for the fade out. Yeah. Fade out sprite. We need to set its back. Set object time scale. Set object time scale. Fade out. Yes, okay.
For 1, and then put it.
Beautiful.
Nice.
It should be fine there. You can set variables, but it couldn't do its fade because its time. It was frozen in time.
Right.
Let's try this again. Nice. Okay. I just need to attack him.
Right. He's trying to jump you.
Yeah. Get away from me. Leave me alone. There's too many. Go. Still no fade. I am shocked and appalled. Okay, what's going on here? I know we're close. Something is still preventing this. All right, I'm going to search the word fade again and see all things related. Oh, that's the other thing too. Fade out events. I need to look in there and see if there's something that is disallowing us from this to work.
Right.
Set where to game over. Set fade to 1. That's it. So it's got to be something here. Every 2 seconds. Maybe it's because we're using a timer like that, like every 50th of a second. Maybe it says, oh, well, you froze time, so time's not passing. I didn't think that was the case, but maybe that's the case.
2 hours later.
So what I did was I found the actual layout and layer with the fade out object, and I gave it a fade behavior. So in that fade behavior, I made it take a half a second to fade in. That's the fade in. And I made it not active at start. So then what we could do is now let's go back to fade out. Yeah, so now if value fade is set to 1, trigger once, and then we just trigger that fade that by default is inactive. So it'll fade in. It'll become completely opaque. And then I change this event to say once the fade in is finished, that's when we turn the time scale on, because the fade behavior, it's immune to time scale of the overall game so long as you set that particular object's time scale back to 1, which we did, and I'll show that in a second. And then once it's done fading in, then we free up the time. We immediately go to the layout, and then just to show again what I was talking about, gameplay events, right here, yeah, we're freezing time, but we're making time scale back to normal for the hero spriter object, the hero box, and now also the fade out sprite. And because of that, its fade behavior will still work. And so now let's test it and see if everything's working.
Maybe.
Yep, okay. Yep. So we touch it, he automatically walks, fades out, boom. And we know why he still keeps walking like that, which makes perfect sense. And in fact, we want him to, because we are going to make him go to level 1 boss. He's going to start off screen. And the only issue is, where is there? Floor collider. I'm going to bring that on top. We don't want him to fall to his death. We want it like that. I didn't inadvertently move that to a bad place, did I? I don't think so. Oh, well, yeah, we need to move the thing.
We'll still have to mess with this.
Yeah.
Our map.
That's fine,
So get the new art in and stuff.
Yeah, that's one of the next things we're going to do. So now that we can actually get to it. So he's going to start off screen, and he's going to walk on screen, and then once he reaches a certain point, then we're going to give him back his controls and all that stuff. So
well, one thing to think about is that would be a typical level intro, but for the bosses, we may actually have a little sort of cutscene type of intro to the boss. Like maybe we don't want the player to have any control as soon as they walk in.
Good point. It's not going to be as soon. It'll be once he reaches a certain point. But you're right. We very often, to introduce the boss, there's going to be special stuff happening. So whereas with the exit of the level, we right now just put it in gameplay events so it's universal. Mm-hmm. We won't do that for the intro sequence so that we can have it special for the beginning of every level. We can have a special thing happen.
Right.
All right, so before we get the hero walking into, at the beginning of the level, the boss fight, let's have some fun and load in Corey's nice new boss arena graphics he's been working on. So I have to make sure FG is the one I'm on. Try that again. There we go. Okay, so now down at 5, we'll call this boss 1 ENV for environment. All right, and then so now if we go in here, we should be able to load, and we say replace image. Bam. All right. So now let's get this in place, and we want to be able to see the edge of it as much as possible. So I'm trying to compensate. Oh, we know it's 54 pixels, right? And from the side, I think the frame. So let's try that and see if it works, and then get the height roughly where we want it. Oh yeah, oh, it's up too high. There we go.
Something and I wasn't sure if this one matched the other level perfectly as far as the height.
That doesn't matter.
Goes. I wonder if we had it lined up.
Yeah, this should be about right. And then so we've got the player set up there. So now we could even test it. All right, so let's actually just quickly test this now, and we should still have in our little hack to make it start right near the end of the level.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So
nice.
Oh, I never did get rid of the boss thing again, and I just can't help but kill him.
Cheater.
Leave me alone. There we go. Boom. Nice. Okay.
Cool,
so definitely we knew about that. We knew that was going to happen. But otherwise, it's in there. And
no boss, just keep on walking.
Yeah, exactly. Well, nothing to see here. I guess I'll just mosey on through. All right, so we need to shrink this so that you can see this. But so basically it needs to be the width of this, which is 352. You ready to do a little math? 352 plus 54 twice. So 54 twice is 108. So 108 plus this is 460, I believe. Did I get that right?
You're right, 460.
All right, excellent. Okay, so that's this, and then did I say 460?
Mm-hmm.
That should give us exactly the layout width we need so that the whole background can scroll exactly from end to end. And then, all right, so the next thing to do is...
Oh, and there was also I guess you were going to do that next. The very
replace
back.
the background, exactly. So we're just going to clone object type, and we are going to load in. There we go.
Okay.
Get this in the right general place.
Yeah, and I may still tweak these colors a little bit. You know, it does feel a little heavily sunset, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Once you see it all working in game together, then you get a really specific feeling for what you should do. And then the other thing we noticed was this was up too high.
Right.
Layer.
Yeah, maybe. Do you think the
A.
actual floor is lower here or something? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe the whole layout is not as tall or something like that. It's not a big deal. Like each thing can have its own. As long as it looks right when it's playing, it's perfectly fine. Yeah, It's still up too high. All right, we need to fix that, but we're getting there. In fact, what do you think? Should I... Yeah, I'll lower it a tiny bit.
It's pretty close. Yeah, maybe about 8 pixels or something like that.
Okay, so I'm thinking the same thing. So we're just gonna 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Same thing here. 2, 3, 4, 5.
Well,
6, 7,
I think
8.
it would have to go. Was it the opposite direction or?
Oh no, I'm doing both.
Oh, okay.
And so Control A, and then. Let's see how this does. Is it me or does it feel exactly the same its position? Oh, maybe I did them both pretty much.
It's still cropping a little bit, at that bottom, but...
All right, we're getting there, I think. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
All right.
Okay, definitely not cropping, but now it's too low.
Right,
so we'll bring it back up 4 pixels. 1, 2, 3, 4. This has got to be close. It looks like I didn't have one of the trees selected somehow. But that tree that tree can never get on screen anyway. And we're not going to have the trees. We're going to have something different. Which we will reveal at a different time. But
and I think another adjustment, the very background feels a little high.
Okay. You're right.
The mountains are kind of up there, so.
Yeah. All right.
I guess there's a little cropping at the top there.
Yeah. Well, what we can do. Oh, that's right. From the HUD of the frame, the Amiga frame thing.
Yeah, the frame and the HUD put together. So.
Yeah. Good point. Something about like that.
Yeah, that's a little closer. Yeah, it should look nice. Yep.
And then when you jump, that's nice.
Right, yeah.
All right, sweet. All right. Yep,
I was concerned about the width and whether it would be a good amount of scrolling, but I think that's pretty nice.
Yeah, that's a good
size of it. Yeah,
that's a good one. We won't know for absolute certain until the boss is in there and we really start to work out the exact gameplay. But this is certainly fairly safe, and it would be quite easy, obviously, to add another tile or two to these edges here and the center point if we need to expand it, and it wouldn't be that hard to add one tile in between right where the character is right now too. If we really need to expand it more.
I could even go so far as to expand that middle and add like a center column there that's
with the
others,
good point. Good point.
That wouldn't be too difficult either, so.
All right, cool. All right, so now that we've got that in there looking pretty, so we will go back to level 1. And now we're finally going to undo that sheet. Let's see here. We'll put him all the way back where he belongs for now. And we're going to work out the beginning of a normal level code in the level 1 event sheet. Alright, so we'll put him here. And we'll extend this a bit in case we want them to start farther back at some point, but that's fine. And then we're making sure at the beginning of the layout it is level 1. That's good. And then I think right now we have, after a second, we change it to, what was that thing called again?
It was like intro.
We'll just search for intro.
Maybe intro, exit, something like that.
That didn't work. Let's see here.
Maybe that's not it. It was a variable.
Actually, it is in gameplay events. Here's what we were looking for. Timer is greater than 1. So we're going to get rid of this. The thing that gets it off of, that changes intro and exit to 1, it's going to be in the code for every particular layout, just to be able to do fancy intros or have the character appear in different ways depending on the level or the boss arena. We're going to remove this, but right now I'm going to copy it and cut it. And we're going to level 1 events, and now I'm going to put that, we'll do a new group, add group, intro, and then paste that in there. And now what we're going to do is change this, replace object, oh no, not replace object, replace action, replace condition, that's what I'm talking about. And
You wrote into, by the way.
into intro, it's all this, pretty much the same thing. Because during the intro, you go into the scene, you see?
That is true.
Yeah. All right, so we need the player box, compare X, and we're going to say greater or equal to, we'll do the left visible edge, which is viewport left, FG, plus, so 54 is the frame, so we want to be several pixels in beyond that, so we'll try 100 for now, see how that feels.
Okay.
And then we do that, and then now we are also going to have to set the, so now I will copy this, because this is basically fine for the intro to level, no, we should turn off his.
Well, I guess
his
they should
input.
all be consistent, right? I mean, level 1, he should still kind of walk in.
Yeah,
the same
exactly.
way.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
yeah,
so we
yeah.
need to have him set to ignore input and all that stuff too at the beginning of the layout.
Right.
So
right.
on start of layout for level 1, yeah, okay, so we're going to change this to, I needed to fix the thing anyway, so intro,
Right.
and exit. All right. Yeah, that's sloppy, but it's good enough. Will you just back off? I try so hard. Okay. All right, let's see here. Intro and exit. And so we've got that, but at the start of the layout, new event above, at start of layout, or on start of layout. And this is where we're going to do all that stuff like player box, set ignore input to start ignoring, and also we're going to turn off that group of events, set group active, inactive, deactivated. It's another way to put that. I don't remember what it was controlled.
I
Player
believe it was
controls.
Player controls,
Nice.
yes. That was it.
All right.
Not with the Z.
No,
With
no, that is actually, yeah. All right, player controls and intro or exit. Yeah, so now we also need a new event above, intro or exit, compare variable. Intro or exit is equal to 1, and it's the same. Thank you, autosave. Trying to make a video here. All right. What are we doing? Yes, player. We're going to set vector x. I can't remember what the value was that felt right. Was it just a 100? We can look at gameplay events.
It was some, yeah, I think that might have been it.
Gameplay events. 200.
200.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, games. All right. 200. 200. Okay, so now when this happens, when he gets to this position, then we're going to set intro and exit to 0, which we are already doing, and we are going to give him back his controls, and we're going to activate that group. So stop ignoring and set it to activated. So hopefully, now when we start, let's just start the game right from the load screen and see if we're getting the desired behavior. Great job on the title screen, Corey, as always.
Yeah,
just fantastic work.
I've updated it quite a
Wow.
lot in the last week, so.
I know we call it a cinematic intro sequence, but just the wow factor. I mean, it really feels like I'm watching the latest like multi-billion-dollar film.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's all my hard work and experience coming to fruition, you know.
Yeah. So busy joking, I wasn't even paying attention to the payoff of the. All right, let's try that again. So we've got this nice fast cinematic. Look at that, and I have control. Very, very nice.
Cool.
All right, so
Yeah, it worked.
now
Worked
that's
nicely.
working. I just drop kicked that falcon on the back. How many people can say they did that? All right, save progress. So that works. So now all we have to do for today's video to wrap up, since we're both getting kind of giddy and goofy. All right, so level 1 events. So we're just going to copy this, and then we are going to go here, event sheet for that, and we're going to paste that. Oh, that was weird. Did you see that too? What just happened? Oh, I guess I just minimized that accidentally. Okay.
There we go.
Intro exit is 1. He walks on. Oh yeah, that's the interesting thing too. So intro exit is 2. That intro exit. Oh, good. So we already do that. We set it.
Yeah,
to
you
1.
set it to 1, and then
Fantastic.
it should continue with the intro, so it should work.
And this is for a level 1 boss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting. This is in level 1 boss. Events. Hold on.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, no, this is
the-
gameplay events. That's why.
Oh,
Okay, that was causing confusion. So what we need to do is hook up level 1 boss events to the level 1 boss environment. Look at that.
right,
one
because it's
boss
got to be
events.
different for the boss. Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
exactly. And like for each level, we want it different. So that was causing us to basically put things in the wrong place when it comes to the boss. So I have to go back to gameplay events and get rid of that stuff I just added. No wonder I got confused. I knew something wasn't right. So this is what we're trying to put into the boss, a level 1 boss. Now it goes to level 1 boss events, and there's nothing there yet, which is fine. That makes sense. But yeah, let's make this a group again. Add group. Intro. Intro. And the exit. I'll spell it differently each time. We use a different weird naming convention. All right, there we go. Okay, so now we're going to put the cheat back, though, because I don't want to go through the whole level
Right.
to test that. So let's zoom way out. Hopefully I'm going to grab that okay. Put that over here somewhere. Zoom in. Move that down to about there. And let's run the layout. Oh yeah, that's going to be a problem because I'm there now. Oh no, it should automatically because it's greater than that position. So yeah,
Right.
it gave me,
Yep.
okay, that's fine. That works. Ooh, did you see that weird teleportation thing going on?
Whoa, he didn't walk in either.
All right, that was fascinating.
Mm, interesting.
So what was happening? All right, well, before we do anything, I just noticed we have intro or exit equals 2 and then set vector x to 200, and then the fade out thing, we might not want this, like we might want a special way to exit levels during boss fights. So maybe we should have this also specific to each given level. So I'm going to remove that as well. Oh yeah, so that would be this too. Okay.
Well, I mean, wouldn't we just, this is the level 1 code. Or is this
no,
gameplay?
I think I'm in
no, you're
gameplay
in
events
gameplay.
right
That's
now.
okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
How do you? Yeah, it's
No,
not.
you're right,
It's not that easy to see which tab is selected. But yeah, I'm on gameplay events. But what I'm thinking is this event can kind of stay there because if one of those things don't exist, this is a moot point. One of the overlap end of level boxes, level inbox. So I'm just going to copy this, remove it from here. And then the other thing we did while we had it paused, the recording paused, is we just made sure there was a set intro exit to 1 at the beginning of any level. So now we're going to go into level 1 events, and we're going to make sure this is in here as well. So if intro exit is 1, we have the character walking to the right in the right direction. On start of layout, we make sure the player does not have control of himself. And then intro or exit is 1, and the player's X position is viewport left in the foreground layer plus 100, so he's past that edge of the screen. Then it's going to set intro or exit to 0, and it's going to give him back his control. That's all fine. And then, of course, when he overlaps that box that's in the global events, then he's going to, intro exit is going to switch to 2, and because it switches to 2, he walks to the right automatically, and then once he reaches this point, okay, we need to get rid of this. This was causing the problem.
Okay.
There we go. Look at this. So this was true as soon as this is what was teleporting him.
Right, yep.
All right,
wow.
So we need to get rid of this. Because now we do it at the beginning of every level in gameplay events, right here.
Yep, so you don't have to set it up again. Nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
So that should theoretically, famous last words, have fixed it. So we're still at the end of the level, so this will be a quick test, and hopefully no more teleporting. Ooh, you just really pissed me off, buddy. I gotta do it.
It's like that guy from Black Belt at the start of the level where he's just like he runs right in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
But this is still not working. Interesting. But we're getting there. So, but we do. Okay, so maybe it's just a matter of. Oh, of course. Okay. This is an easy fix. We're getting really close to what we planned to do for this video. So, we're going to include event sheet. Gameplay events. That was the missing thing there. Remember we started and it was completely blank because originally it was only using gameplay events. So we needed to include gameplay events so that all the other stuff right here will take effect at the start of the layout. It'll make intro and exit 1, which is what makes him walk forward.
Right.
So let's see if we're all set now. Yes, and I have control. Beautiful. Nice new environment is in there. And now we can go... Yeah, but why can't I go back? Just kidding. But you can see now that I'm done. Now that, like, once the character has come out and got his control back, he cannot go off the edge of the screen, which was something you asked about the last time.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Awesome.
Very, very nice. So I think that is going to be it for this video, unless you had any last-minute thoughts or any other things you wanted to get done, Corey.
No, I don't believe so.
All right, awesome. Oh yeah, and my math was correct. Look at that. It's the background edges there are perfectly aligned, and you can't exceed them and stuff. So very nice, very clean work, despite our fatigue and giddiness near the end there. All right, well, that's it. Thanks, everyone, for watching, and see you next time. Oh no, I can't. Oh no, am I in the right place?